So here I have f of g of 0. That's what that symbol means. And so normally when I have just a plain old function, like let's say g of 0, what we normally do is we write our function x squared plus 2, but in this case, x is the input, and so now x is no longer the input, 0 is my input. So I actually want to erase x and write in 0, just like this. And so g of 0 boils down to 0 squared, which is 0, plus 2, which is 2. So g of 0 is equal to 2. And so I'm going to think of g this way the rest of this problem. And f of x can be really thought of the same way. I'm going to think of it in green. And so now we don't just have f or g, we have f of g, which is a composition, which is really what I like to think of as a function within a function. If you've ever seen the movie Inception, it's like a dream within a dream. Well, in math, this is a function within a function. And so we're going to go ahead and write our f of g. And so the first one, f, is always the one that goes on the outside. So f of, and then I'm going to write g of, instead of g of x, it's g of 0. So I'm going to write g of 0. And remember, my advice is always to work from the inside to the outside. So we're going to start within the innermost portion of this composition of a function, which is g of 0. It's kind of like an order of operations. When you have two parentheses and one is inside the other, we always want to make sure to resolve the interior parentheses before resolving the exterior parentheses to preserve our order of operations. So keep this in mind. Inside to outside is our best plan of attack here. And so let's go ahead and let's work on this inside. So I have g of 0 here. So I'm going to first off repeat the outside. So it's f of, and what are we going to write on the inside now? G of 0, well, g of x is x squared plus 2. But remember, I don't have g of x, I have g of 0. So instead of writing x, I'm going to write my input value, which is 0. So we're going to erase that and write it as 0. So this means it all boils down to f of, and what's on the inside here? 0 plus 2, which is f of 2. And now we write this out as the function f, which is 4x minus 5. But remember, it's not f of x anymore, it's f of 2. So now instead of writing x, I am going to plug in this number 2 for x. So 4 times 2 is my function. And that's just simply equal to 8 minus 5, which is 3. And so now that means that the function f of g of 0, as long as I worked inside out, is going to boil down to the number 3. So my conclusion is that f of g of 0 is equal to 3.